Jay goes, let's get it straight. Nobody's afraid of 50 Cent.
I think he would have done that if that was 50 Cent. No one's scared of 50 Cent.
When he's saying he's not afraid of 50 Cent, why would you have to make that clear when no one's ever asked me if I'm afraid of JayZ? Even the glasses. What the glasses represent? Intelligence, right? A nerd, maybe? 4 hours. What are some of the things that come along with you being a nerd? Like, don't hit a guy with 4 hours. He doesn't want any trouble. Makes you more approachable, doesn't it? There ain't never been no 50 Cent JayZ conversations. Question.
Like, where's Jay at? He's mad quiet. Like while the Puffy thing was going on. But it's obvious now that his team was being made aware that he was in those allegations also.
50 Cent currently faces major accusations that he actually violated every single standard boundary within the culture of hip-hop, specifically targeting JayZ's wife, revealing all his private commercial arrangements, and transforming what initially began as minor-friendly rivalry into a full war that left the whole music business extremely anxious. Underneath JayZ's clean executive mogul reputation, there truly existed a very deliberate attempt to exclude 50 Cent from the most significant platforms in world media. Once 50 discovered this fact, total chaos erupted immediately. The startling reality behind what transformed these two Queens-born entrepreneurs into bitter rivals is grimmer and more intentional than anyone ever suspected. We are here to uncover every detail, from neighborhood insults to professional interference, from Super Bowl conflicts to claims that will surely leave you stunned. Yo, what's up, family? We are diving into authentic industry maneuvering and urban street drama that has unsettled hip-hop for more than 20 years. This is no ordinary beef dispute. These are strategic maneuvers, authority power plays, and two leaders competing for one single crown. Now, before we explore this crazy wild journey, let me be completely honest with you all. Rumors have circulated about JayZ and 50 Cent for many decades, though most people assume it is merely sporting rivalry or distant history. However, we are going to distinguish truth from myth, the genuine from the insincere, since this feud has dimensions extending much further than standard musical clashes. 1999 was the specific year that transformed everything. 50 Cent was an ambitious, independent, unsigned artist from South Jamaica, Queens, possessing 36 tracks that no record company desired to publish. JayZ had already completed 3 records, turning into a famous figure, constructing his global kingdom. But 50 possessed a scheme, a tactical, promotional approach designed to insert his identity into every artist's conversation, regardless of their approval. Now, wait before you assume this was merely some lighthearted contest. 50's next action was daring, risky, and absolutely brilliant. He published How to Rob, a song where he imagined stealing from every prominent creator in the industry. Indeed, JayZ was included on that list. The lyrics mention Jay moving millions, having a reason to survive, and 50 desiring to puncture that luxury Bentley vehicle. That is incredibly bold type energy to display. So, look, April 1999, 50 publishes How to Rob, and the business reacts wildly. This anonymous youth from Queens just challenged DMX, Big Pun, Master P, Diddy, and JayZ within a single track. The record went viral. Personalities like Funk Blaster Flex played it 650 times every week on Hot 97. Everyone was discussing Curtis Jackson. In rap, we understand you do not simply mention names without anticipating serious repercussions. Many creators found it humorous or disregarded it entirely, but JayZ refused. He chose to react, and his reply defined the coming 25 years of friction. Summer Jam 1999. JayZ appears on stage at a premier hip-hop festival and performs a freestyle featuring the now iconic phrase, "I'm about $1. What the F? Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk is 50 Cent." The audience reacted with total frenzy.
I'm about dollars, who the f*** is 50 Cent?
Have subsequently immortalized that insult on his song, It's Hot Some Like It Hot, featured on Volume 3. Life and Times of S. Carter. The lyric was condescending, sharp, and established Jay as the dominant financial unit, while dismissing 50 as mere pocket change. However, here is the interesting part. 50 Cent was actually thrilled by the reaction. You see, JayZ had just highlighted his name before 30,000 spectators. That was exactly 50's objective. Unpaid advertisement from one of the industry's titans. 50 even joked that he owed Jay a luxury gift for that mention. That shows some serious tactical thinking. While other artists would have taken personal offense, 50 recognized the chance and exploited it. The real twist, though, was that 50 did not let the matter rest. In 2000, he released Be a Gentleman, a pointed retort questioning Jay's street credibility, mocking his seniority, and branding him a manipulator. 50 attacked Jay's entire persona, arguing that commercial success did not translate to genuine street honor. He labeled Jay a fraud, a trickster, a fake, and questioned how a 41-year-old could still claim to rule New York City. That represents disrespect on every possible level. Then, tragedy struck in the most violent way imaginable. On May 24, 2000, 50 Cent was shot 9 times in front of his grandmother's residence in Queens. He survived, but Columbia Records terminated his contract and canceled his first album. The conflict paused as 50 healed and reconstructed his career through underground mixtapes. Yet that hunger, that obsession with proving himself, never faded. But listen, this is where the story extends beyond lyrical sparring. See, when 50 returned in 2003 with Get Rich or Die Trying, backed by Eminem and Dr. Dre, he didn't merely return, he completely took over, selling 872,000 units in week 1, with NDA Club playing everywhere. The project went diamond. 50 Cent was unstoppable, and JayZ recognized it. Hav even confessed to cautioning his fellow roster. You all better release as much music as possible now because 50 Cent is coming, and once he drops, everyone else is finished. That is respect, but it is also a sign of fear. Jay saw the incoming wave and tried to organize his team, but there was no stopping the 50 Cent hurricane of 2003. For a short time, they remained civil. In 2003, they filmed a Reebok ad together and co-headlined the Rock the Mic tour. They were generating revenue together and doing joint interviews. In one Entertainment Weekly piece, they even complimented each other. Jay called 50 the biggest sensation and predicted he could be the greatest if he stayed the course. 50 credited Jay for his 8-tier longevity. It appeared like mutual admiration, but the underlying tension remained. 50's Geonit footwear outsold Jay's S. Carter collection 6-1, earning $80 million through Reebok. That is when the authentic rivalry began, not just in music, but in commerce. And 50 was never shy about gloating over those statistics. He would visit radio stations discussing how his shoes were selling out, while Jay's were collecting dust. That is the kind of petty behavior that creates genuine hatred. Now, let's discuss what truly triggered everything. November 2003. Both JayZ's The Black Album and Geonit's Beg for Mercy were set to release on the same day. 50 went on air and bet that Geonit would outsell JayZ. That is daring. That is risking your status against one of the biggest figures in rap. Both records leaked, forcing earlier release dates. When the results arrived, JayZ's The Black Album started at number 1 with 463,000 units. G-Unit's Beg for Mercy landed at number 3 with 377,000 units. Jay won the opening battle, but here's the catch. Over time, G-Unit's record sold 6 million units globally, while JS sold 4 million. So, who was the real winner? Then arrived 2007, the Kanye West against 50 Cent sales competition. Both albums released simultaneously. Kanye's Graduation versus 50's Curtis. Publicly, it seemed like 50 versus Kanye, but according to 50, this was actually JayZ utilizing Kanye as a tool to undermine him. Jay was the head of Def Jam, then Kanye's label, and 50 argues Jay did everything, absolutely everything, to ensure Kanye triumphed. 50 informed Interscope that 50 couldn't bring guests to their shared appearance, so Eminem stayed away. Yet JayZ appeared and performed with Kanye anyway. Jay had changed the rules, used his influence, and leveraged his corporate authority. Kanye won by nearly 300,000 units, and 50 felt betrayed. In his book, Hustle Harder, Hustle Smarter, 50 wrote that JayZ was incredibly threatened by his New York dominance for years, and did everything possible to defeat him using Kanye. That is not mere competition. That is utilizing an executive role to settle personal grudges. That is the kind of maneuver that transforms a musical rivalry into something much more serious. The news that shocked everyone happened August 22, 2007, at Screamfest in Madison Square Garden. This is where 50 Cent proved to JayZ he was finished playing games. Here is the play-by-play. 50 performed with Did I Get Money? And was meant to exit, but then T.I. introduced JayZ as a surprise and named him the King of New York. That title was exactly what 50 had been claiming. So when Jay stepped out looking relaxed, ready for his moment with Kanye, 50 made a bold move. He charged back onto the stage uninvited, walking right out while Jay was in the middle of a set. If you check the footage, you can see Jay's expression. He is clearly bothered and surprised. Jay even remarked to 50, "You just had to come up here, didn't you?" That is palpable tension. 50 turned it into a spectacle. Diddy joined. Swizz Beatz appeared, and suddenly it was a massive hip-hop moment, but Jay was unhappy. He wanted his spotlight with Kanye, and 50 interrupted it on purpose. That is the level of disrespect that could lead to physical harm in the streets. But 50 was fearless. He was sending a clear message. I still own this city. Later, 50 clarified his logic. He saw a moment happening, so he had to intervene. When he mentioned ruling New York, Jay stopped. He hated that. That is psychological warfare. 50 knew exactly what he was doing by challenging Jay on his big night. But here's where things turned truly dangerous. 2022, the Super Bowl halftime event. This is where JayZ reportedly crossed a line 50 could not overlook. According to 50 Cent, JayZ, who manages the halftime show through ROC Nation's NFL deal, attempted to block 50 from the performance. Dr. Dre wanted him included. The set was meant to honor West Coast hip-hop, but Jay allegedly told Dre he did not want 50 on that stage. Think about that for a second. JayZ using his executive power to bar another artist from the biggest platform in American media that is no longer sporting. That is sabotage. That is using corporate influence to settle old scores. And when 50 learned of this, he went into full attack mode. 50 revealed that Eminem had to give the NFL a final demand. I am not performing unless 50 Cent is there. Consider that. One of the most famous halftime shows almost lost Eminem because Jay was reportedly trying to exclude 50. Tony Yayo backed up the story, saying Jay was simply hating. That is when 50 realized this was no longer about records or commerce. This was personal. In a December 2024 talk with Cameron, 50 said JayZ felt threatened by him and that once competition moves beyond music to blocking business opportunities, he's done. He said, "You aren't even fighting for a spot. You don't have a top 10 hit you're protecting, yet you're still competing," which is nonsensical. But this is where 50 truly crossed the boundary and made it personal. 50 started attacking everything. DJ's looks, his Grammy collection, even his marriage to Beyonce. 50 argued that Jay's Grammy success 25 awards, the most for any rapper, was purely due to marrying Beyonce, not his own talent. He claimed Jay signed a marriage pact, and suddenly the awards started coming. He told The Breakfast Club, "Look, when Jay signed that major contract with Beyonce, he got trophies. Those awards started pouring in. Man, that is disrespect on a totally different level." 50 was essentially saying Jay's success depends on his wife, not his ability. He said Jay is no longer seen as a street rapper, but as a businessman, an owner, and a father, and that his greatest honors came because of Beyonce's industry standing. 50 even mocked Jay's appearance, sharing memes comparing him to Jean-Michel Basquiat and saying Jay was trying to look like a gay artist. He said, "Big homie wants to look like a gay painter. What are we discussing? We're talking about he wants to resemble a gay painter." That is the kind of insult that in any other period would have sparked real violence. He dismissed Jay's 444 album as golf course music, calling it too intellectual, too elite, and disconnected from the streets. 50 said, "I felt like I needed glasses and a sweater. It was like Ivy League. People don't want that. They just want to enjoy themselves." Now, we have to talk about the craziest part of this entire saga. Warcent revealed that Beyonce herself confronted him regarding the feud with Jay, according to FICE. They were at a Vegas event, and Beyonce was perched on a window ledge. When she overheard 50 speaking to Jay, she leaped down and ran toward him like she was ready for a physical fight. 50 described this scene. "She was on a windowsill, right? We were in Vegas. She jumped down. She was like, 'What?' And I'm like, 'Wait, what are you doing? This is between me and JayZ. This has nothing to do with you. Girl, stay back.' She jumped down and approached. I said, 'Oh, look at this. That is ultimate loyalty right there.' Beyonce was ready to fight for her husband. 50 was stunned because he believed this was strictly between him and Jay, but that shows how deep this conflict goes. It involves families, legacies, and corporate empires. 50 even joked that Jay has breasts because Beyonce was fighting his battles. In urban culture, having your woman intervene to protect you is considered the ultimate insult to your manhood, and 50 knew exactly what he was doing by sharing that story. He was portraying Jay as someone who hides behind others, even his own spouse. For those who might not grasp the depth of this rivalry, let me explain. This isn't just about who is the superior rapper or who had higher sales. This is about two conflicting philosophies of power. 50 Cent operates like a warrior, aggressive, direct, leaning into controversy, and calling people out. He built his identity on being unfiltered and brave. If he has a problem with you, everyone knows. He's on Instagram with the jokes. He's doing interviews revealing everything. That is his strength, honesty, and fearlessness. JayZ functions like an emperor, quiet, calculated, and letting lawyers or corporate systems do the work. He rarely replies to accusations in public. He operates in boardrooms, not social media threads. He uses his status to manipulate things behind the scenes. That is his strength, control, and tactical silence. 50 has frequently called Jay the coolest punk in hip-hop, arguing Jay always places someone else in front to do the fighting. When Jadakiss targeted Jay, he used Beanie Sigel. When Cameron attacked, he used Freeway. Jay does not engage directly. He utilizes proxies, corporate influence, and silence. 50 explained it this way. He is something else. Man, he always uses someone as a shield. When Jada came for him, he sent Beanie, and Beanie fought Jada. When Cam came, he sent True Life, and they argued, while he just didn't engage. But the most damaging claims 50 made were not about tracks or money. They were about Jay's personality and business ethics. 50 revealed how Jay reportedly uses executive roles to hinder rivals, how he ghosted former allies like Dame Dash and Beanie Sigel once they were no longer profitable, and how he distances himself from anyone with legal issues to save his own reputation. 50 noted that when Supreme McGriff someone Jay was once close to face murder charges, Jay and Diddy would not help. When R.O. Sayafella collapsed, Jay took the Def Jam job and abandoned his partners. When friends needed him, Jay prioritized his brand. This is the deception 50 keeps highlighting, that Jay's family values are just marketing, that loyalty is a one-way street, that behind the clean mogul image is someone who will discard you the second you become a problem. 50 even claimed Jay was still targeting Nas years after their beef ended by releasing records on the same day just to ruin his sales. That is petty, deliberate, and exactly what 50 has said about Jay for years. Ultimately, the JayZ versus 50 Cent feud is not just about two rappers who dislike each other. It is about authority, influence, and what happens when street beef is used in the boardroom. It is about two distinct paths to success, one loud and direct, one quiet and tactical. The real question is, who is actually winning? JayZ has more Grammys, more executive power, and Beyonce, but 50 Cent has the streets, the honor of never folding, and a stage where he can speak his mind. Jay moves in the shadows, 50 moves in the light, and both are still at the top. This feud has lasted 2 decades and shows no sign of ending. As long as 50 has social media and Jay has corporate influence, the shots will continue. Some subtle, some loud, but all keeping rap's longest Cold War going. Neither man has broken the other, and maybe that is the point. They need this rivalry to define themselves, to stay motivated, and to keep grinding. What are your thoughts on this legendary conflict? Who do you believe is actually right here? JayZ's strategic business maneuvers, or 50 Cent's unfiltered honesty? Is 50 crossing a boundary by mentioning Beyonce, or is he simply exposing Jay's true nature? Share your thoughts in the comments and watch the videos on screen for more deep dives into rap's most intense moments. This is your guy, and I am out. Peace, fam.